Well, speaking of fans,
yes,
one of our fans from Australia, Aussie Ace,
yes,
sent over a package, and we talked about this earlier in the show, that he sent over let's get
another one?
Yep. Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
How you doing, guys?
We're doing. How you doing?
All right, man. It's Chris from Raleigh, North Carolina.
All right, Chris. Glad to hear from you. What's on your mind tonight?
I actually just left the Y&T show at the Lincoln Theater in Raleigh.
And how was it?
Incredible. 23 songs.
Wow.
Minichetti sounds like he's 20-something years old.
Yeah, well, he takes care of himself, and he's got a great voice and still performs very well.
I actually called because I have a great Keith Caputo story for you.
Okay, we want to hear it.
Yeah.
All right, so I was a cop in New York City for about 10 years.
Okay.
And, this is when Life Agony was doing their reunion tour, and I pulled over Keith Caputo.
Okay.
And I actually have a Life Agony tattoo on my right arm.
All right, so did you have it before you pulled Keith over or after?
No, I got it when I was like 21 years old, and at this point when I pulled him over, I was probably like 32 years old.
All right, did you? Okay, go ahead. I won't spoil your story, but go ahead.
So I start freaking out like a teenage girl that I'm pulling over the singer of the band that I have the tattoo of. So they were doing a bunch of reunion shows, and he said, let's exchange numbers. So we exchanged numbers, and he put me on the guest list for one of their shows at the Starland Ballroom in New Jersey.
Okay.
So fast forward about a year from then, and I'm having people over my apartment to watch football, and my friend gets a hold of my phone and sends out a random text message to a bunch of people, and he hits the J's and K's.
Okay.
And he sent a text message saying, from me, saying, I can't live with myself anymore. I have to come clean. I love to suck cock.
Oh, my God.
I love that.
So I get a bunch of responses from my friends. What's wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. And I get a response from Keith Caputo. Now, this is before he's Mina. He says, I love that you love to suck cock. I want to suck your cock.
Oh, my God. Wow. Did you save that text?
No, this is like 8 years ago.
Okay.
7-8 years ago. This is when we had, this is during the flip phone, the Motorola flip phone.
Yeah, right.
So how long did it take you to drive over there?
Well, I lived in Staten Island. He lived in Brooklyn, so it was only about a half hour.
Was he good?
I'm kidding. I hope not.
I know.
So anyway, and then a year later, he was Mina. So the cat was out of the bag before I knew it before the public did.
Wow.
Did you think he was kidding, or did you think he was serious?
No, I thought he was serious because he's like a strange dude, man. I mean, he was a nice enough guy, but he was strange.
Yeah, we did a when I was at WMMS, we did a listening party with them. Like they came in and they played a couple of acoustic songs and hung out and answered questions and shit like that. And talking to him before it and after it, he is kind of an oddball.
I mean, I was at his cousin is Joey Z from the guitar player from the band, and I was actually at a bar in Brooklyn where he was having his bachelor party. That guy was like the nicest guy in the world. Sure,
yeah, I know Joey. He's good people,
and he was pretty straight up. But yeah, I mean, I love you guys' show. I have a million stories about guys like rock stars I met, people I pulled over, people I've met. But
well, what did you pull Keith over for, and did you give him a ticket for anything?
I didn't give him a ticket. I pulled him over for being on his cell phone. In New York, you can't be on your cell phone and drive.
All right.
But I did give him a ticket.
And did you say, dude, I got a tattoo on my arm or whatever?
Oh yeah, I rolled up my sleeve. I showed him the tattoo. He was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." It was the first tattoo I ever got when I was a kid.
Wow.
And he looked at that and said, "You're a buff man."
He gave me his phone number. I thought it was cool. I was like, I got Keith Caputo's phone number.
Yeah, you didn't know why, though, did you?
I didn't know why, man. I didn't know why. I got a Bret Michaels story if you want to hear it.
Yeah, we want to hear. Of course. Chris hates that guy.
I hate that cocksucker.
He was all right, Chris. I know you hate him, but when I met him, he might have been the coolest guy I ever met in my life.
All right, are you sure it was Bret?
We were at they were playing the PNC Arts Center in New Jersey, and we got there like 11 o'clock in the morning, tailgate.
All right.
And he came out on his mountain bike. He came out on his mountain bike. He came over like, Bret, come have a beer with us. He's like, listen, let me get a half-hour workout in. When I come back, I want a beer and I want a football. And a half hour later, he came back and he hung out with us for an hour and a half, answering questions. We're asking him how it was to fuck Pamela Anderson, all that kind of stuff. So I asked him about Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
So I asked him about Bon Jovi. I was like, what's up with this Bon Jovi guy? I go, he takes himself way too seriously. I said, he gets on stage and he tells these stories about how he grew up on the mean streets of Sayreville, New Jersey. I said, I live 15 minutes from Sayreville. I go, the streets aren't that mean.
Right.
So he starts hysterical laughing. He's like, you know what? He's a nice guy, but he takes himself way too seriously. So he hung out with us for about 2 hours until the parking lot started getting crowded. So before Ricky Rocket's drum solo, he's like, I just want to thank the guys I tailgated with. I had a great time. And he goes, and now from the mean streets of Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, Mr. Ricky Rocket. And that was like a shout out to us.
That's funny.
That's funny.
All right. Well,
I know you don't like him, man, but he was a really cool guy.
Well, my dislike is because of how he acted toward me specifically. It's not about I mean I'm not trying to say that every time I've ever heard anything about the guy he was a dick. I mean, you've met him, Neely. Was he nice to you?
Well, he's always been nice to me. I've interviewed him. I've hung out with him on a couple of occasions. I don't have anything bad to say about him aside from you can tell he's very disingenuous.
Well, and as far as me, he just decided he wasn't going to do a meet and greet that he had agreed to do and was going to fuck like 20, 30 fans over until I started yelling and screaming that I was going to kick his ass. And Neely, you were at that show.
I was at that show.
I was a fucking maniac. That fucking Big John guy came over to me and told me to calm down, and I was like, you may kick my ass, but you're going to fucking remember it, asshole. I wasn't playing.
Oh, man.
But
did you guys like Blind Melon?
I love Blind Melon personally.
I wasn't a big fan.
I love him.
I didn't hate him, but I wasn't a fan.
All right, I have a Shannon Hoon story.
All right.
From Blind Melon. All right, so I go see Guns N' Roses. This is during the Use Your Illusion tour, and Shannon Hoon was in the Don't Cry video.
Yeah.
Singing background vocals. So I had second row, Madison Square Garden, and Shannon Hoon sitting in front of me. This is before Blind Melon blew up, so I'd seen them a couple of times at the local club. So obviously we were waiting 2 hours between bands for Guns N' Roses to come on. So I tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, hey, Shannon, how you doing? I'm a big fan. And he was like the coolest guy. He spoke to me for like an hour, asked me my name. We bullshitted. So fast forward like a year later, and me and these two hot girls I was friends with, we go see Aerosmith at Madison Square Garden. And Blind Melon is playing the Roseland Ballroom, which is a smaller place in New York City. So we leave Aerosmith and we try to go see Blind Melon, but the show was ending, so they wouldn't let us in. So the girl I'm with knows how to get backstage to the VIP area. So we sneak in. And we're back there. And do you remember the guy in the Headbangers Ball? His name was Dominic, the man on the street. He like walked around doing interviews with people.
Yeah.
So Dominic, the man in the street, is there, and he knows one of the girls I'm with. And he comes over, and he's like, guys, like, what's up? How you doing? Blah, blah. He's like, where are your passes? So the girls are like, oh, we don't have passes. We stuck back here. He's like, all right, I'll be right back with passes. And of course, he comes back with 2 passes for the girls and no pass for me. Like, come on, man. You're a dick. But so I last like another 15 minutes, and the security guy comes over. He's like, where's your pass? I'm like, listen, I don't have a pass. I'm here with these 2 girls. They know Dominic, the man in the street. He's like, I don't know who he is. You're out. So he's escorting me out. Of course, the girls aren't leaving with me. He's escorting me out, and all of a sudden you hear someone say, hey, stop. What are you doing? And you turn around, it's Shannon Hoon.
All right.
And he goes, what are you doing? He goes, he doesn't have a – so the security guard goes, he doesn't have a pass. He goes, he doesn't need a pass. He goes, he's with me. And I turn around, and he goes, you're the guy from Guns N' Roses. I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah, dude. And he remembered who I was. He was like the coolest guy in the world. He bought me a drink. He got me a pass, and he was aces, man. And then like a few months later, he wound up ODing and dying.
Wow. You got some good stories, my friend.
Well, you lived in New York. There's a lot of stuff
I got more,
going on over there.
I could save them if you want.
Yeah,
for another
save
time.
them.
I listen to you guys on the podcast. I'm usually not around on Saturday nights because I bartend, but I went to go see YNT tonight, and I want to give you guys a call.
Cool.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, call back when next time you got some time and tell us some more, man. These are good.
Definitely, man. I love you guys' show, man. Hail and kill.
Hail and kill.
Well,
motherfuckers!
there he goes.
Look at we got people just who don't normally chime in.
I like those stories.
Yeah, they just come in and they just like, yeah, I've been listening a while and I'm a big fan and I just thought I'd call in and let you know what's going on, and that's cool.
Yeah,
like it.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, cool, new callers with cool stories.
Sure.
And it is funny though, dude, because I get that. I get exactly what he said a lot.
Right.
I met Bret and he was cool to me. You know, I get that from journalist people and just fans or whatever. But I mean, I'm so thankful that you were there.
Yeah,
because
I
you saw it.
I saw it.
And that guy was a cock.
Right.
He was just like, I'm not signing that shit. I'm leaving. I got the 2 chicks I'm going to go bang.
Yeah.
And he tried to leave.
Well, I'll tell you a personal story. Not that it has to do with anything about treating me poorly or anything. But on the 2000, I think it was the 2007 Poison tour. I believe it was. I was out at Tinley Park, which is kind of like Blossom out in the Chicago area.
Sure.
And not to mention any names, but there was a band that started with a D.
Danzig? Deep Purple.
That was also on the bill.
Deep Purple was on the bill? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we were in the dressing rooms.
Okay.
And you know how these venues are set up, where all the dressing rooms are normally like along one hallway there. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, this security comes down through the hallway.
Right.
And starts closing all of the doors to all the dressing rooms.
Really?
And they basically pop their head in and say, just leave this door closed for the next 5 minutes because Bret is walking through.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm not kidding you.
They did that with the damn Yankees door?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. So they close all the doors to the dressing room so Bret could walk through without
being disturbed.
And don't make eye contact, don't look. Clear the hallways.
Yeah. Bret does not want to be looking at Disturbed's fans.
Right. Exactly. But that's the kind of thing. It's just like, dude, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, you're just a guy.
Yeah. So you have to clear the hallway so Bret can walk through. Are you kidding me?
You know what? I get it on the level of get all the bims out of the hallway.
Yeah.
So that dude can walk by without them pawing at him.
Yeah, sure, I get that. But this is in an area where there's minimal people anyway.
Right. Yeah, riffraff fans, you can clear that area. But backstage, there's not very many fans.
There's not very many people back there. It's all the other artists and whoever else is performing.
Exactly.
And, their support staff or whatever, but you got to close all the doors so nobody can look at Bret when he walks through. Are you shitting me?
Fuck you, dickhead. You're going to go stand in front of 18,000 people 3 seconds after you pass my door, you cunt.
Well, the thing is that Vince Neil did the same thing.
I know. Well, Vince should stop it.
Yeah. But I was at the Nautica stage.
Right.
And it was Tesla, Vince Neil, I think it was Rat.
Slaughter was on that.
Slaughter.
Yeah.
And it was, Jizzy was fronting Rat at the time.
Sure. Okay.
And I was backstage with all those guys because, we all know those guys.
Yeah.
But, Vince was headlining. Mm-hmm. And they had trailers backstage, right? They didn't have like dressing rooms. They had the trailers. Well, everyone had to leave the entire backstage area.
Right.
So King Vince could walk from his trailer up onto the stage.
Right.
Everyone had to go. Artists, everybody.
Yeah.
Clear the area. Vince is coming through.
Yeah, the great Vince Neil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so the whole area had to be cleared out.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
It's like, dude, stop it.
It's like, And of course, when his set was over, because after he had got to the stage, then they let everybody back into the area. But of course, when his set was over, then everybody had to clear out again.
What did they do with you and the Doobie Brothers? Did they make you leave? Did they make you guys leave?
They made us go out into catering. We had to go out to catering,
right,
and had to get out of the area because God forbid Vince was coming through.
And meanwhile, even Van Halen wasn't that bad.
Exactly.
I mean, we went and saw Van Halen, and now, to be fair, the security did tell us in advance when Van Halen comes, y'all gotta go.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were okay with that. But they didn't say it just to us. Like me and you.
They told it everybody.
They told the guys from Rat, the guys from Jackal. They said, y'all gotta go.
Right.
When Van Halen comes back.
What the thing is with David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
And being that this was an outdoor venue and everything, he had his own porta potty.
Yeah, his own porta potty, had his own bus.
Yeah.
But then Eddie came out.
And he came out and talked to everybody.
It was like shaking hands. He just didn't want pictures, which still bothers me that I didn't get a picture with Eddie Van Halen.
Me too. I was right there, but I did I did get a picture. I did take the picture.
Yeah.
With
Sean.
with Sean and John Levin.
Yep.
They got pictures with Eddie Van. I didn't get a picture.
I was so not happy to, because I did shake his hand and I did get to, it was funny because I was hanging with Sean.
Right.
Because, me and Sean are buddies about Sons of Anarchy.
Sure.
At that time, that was when Sons was hitting.
Right.
And I was hanging with Sean where you were hanging with Don.
Right.
And I was hanging with Sean and John, basically.
Yeah.
And then they walked over to talk to Eddie.
Right.
And I was like gonna make my way over there. But then I was like, you know what? It was Sean, John, Warren DeMartini,
right,
and Juan, I think.
Yeah, it was. I got that photo because I took the photos.
And I chickened out. I was like, yeah, I will be the oddball standing here.
Right.
Here's 60 million records sold, and here's dickhead DJ guy. I was like, you know what? I'm going to stand back.
Yeah.
And I did, and I stood back. But then when Eddie turned around, he walked right up to me and shook my hand.
Yeah,
and was
sure.
was like, hey, man, how you doing?
Yeah.
And he was like, who are you? I'm like, I ain't anybody, bro. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And then I got the fuck out of his way because I didn't want to be that guy either.
Right.
But he was, he was cordial.
Yeah.
He sure wasn't, okay, turn around, I'm walking through.
No, not at all. But David Lee Roth, that was a whole different story.
But did you see Roth?
I did not see it. No, he went directly from the bus into his dressing room. And, he only had his own porta potty that was all taped off with David Lee Roth only.
Right. I remember that.
It was funny. The Van Halens, that's Wolfie and Eddie and Alex shared a dressing room trailer.
Yeah.
And David had his own trailer.
Yeah, well, he didn't want to deal with them.
Yeah.
And his own bus. He
Yeah.
didn't want to ride with them. And all three of them were, I didn't see Alex.
I didn't see him either.
But I did see Wolfie, and Wolfie was pretty nice.
Uh-huh.
I met him, or I said hello. I didn't meet him, but it was like, hey, man, how are you? Because he went straight into catering.
He did.
And I was there when he came in, because he came in, 20 minutes before Eddie came out.
Right.
And I just happened to be in there, and he walked up to get a plate of food or whatever. And I just was like, hey man, how are you? He's like, hey, that was it.
Yeah.
That was my wolf. I know that's a real exciting story and all.
Wolfie.
That's my Wolfie story.
Yeah.
I said hello.
But yeah, between Vince Neil and Bret Michaels, you got Eddie Van Halen who's out there just saying, hey, how you guys doing? How you doing?
Yeah, well, meanwhile, and you know this, I've been for a long time friends with Jason Newsted.
Sure.
And because of that friendship, I got to hang out with Metallica in the heyday.
Right.
In the biggest moments of their career, I was so privileged to have a lot of backstage access.
Right.
Those guys were never dicks. I mean, they were not, James did not like to be fucked with a whole lot before the shows.
Sure.
He would go do a meet and greet, but it was very, very organized and very planned. Let's take this.